let's go a little bit more in depth on the stroke and how we play different dynamics on the bass drum. So you have your grip set, you have your fulcrum all ready to go. You're not opening this up. Your back 3 fingers are going to stay on your mallet. Your forearm is going to be parallel to the ground. You're set in a good second or first position behind your drum. It's at the right height. But where do we hit the drum, right? Under most circumstances in a playing scenario, you're going to want to hit in the direct center of the bass drum. There are some scenarios where you might do some edge work, but that'll be as directed. The core of your playing is going to be directly in the middle. Unfortunately, unlike our friends in the snares and quads and tom world, we don't have the luxury of seeing our playing surface as we play, right? I cannot see either of my heads from where I'm standing. So, how do we know if we're playing in the center? What I would recommend everybody do the next time you're behind either a bass drum, or you can even do it with just any drum that you have lying around. If you really have a keen ear, you can even do it with a practice pad. But play around with hitting around the edge of a drum or a playing surface, and then playing in the middle. You can hear that in the middle, hopefully, if the camera's picking it up. You can hear that the middle is a much more dense sound. It's thicker, it's heavier, it just has a lot more weight to what's going on without you changing anything about your stroke. So if we listen as we play around, you can find center without even looking. And as you get more used to your drum and how it sounds and how you play your personal tendencies, as you play, you'll be able to make adjustments. And you'll be able to hear like, oh, I'm a little forward, I'm a little back. And be able to find center as you play. So let's talk about some dynamics. These are going to be just what I teach. Of course, there's plenty of different philosophies out there about dynamic heights and what each of them means for bass drummers. So this is just the philosophies that I use. So piano is going to be only rotation with our technique that we're using. So we're going to rotate out a little bit. The wrist is not going to break at all. We're going to rotate out to 3 inches away from the head. Strike from there. Mezzo piano is going to be the same thing. We're going to rotate only out to 5 inches. Strike the drum from there. And for most people, from where you're standing behind the drum, you should be able to see your mallet and your peripherals just a little bit. Mezzo Forte is when we're going to incorporate a bit more of wrist break and some arm. So we're going to break the wrist a little bit, rotate out, arm a little bit. And that's going to be about 45 degrees off of our playing surface. Cool? Forte, a little bit more wrist break, a little bit more arm, more rotation, up to 9 inches. And then vertical or fortissimo is going to be all the way out to vertical, which for us is horizontal, right? Our wrist is going to be decently broken here, decently bent. Rotation, you notice that my entire palm is facing the sky now, and a decent amount of arm movement here too. Now, it's my personal opinion, and I think the opinion of a few other people that I know, that on a bass drum, you should be hitting the drum from all heights as hard as you can. Now, before you start wailing away on your drum, let's talk about this. And remember that in our technique, there's no tension at all in our hand or in our forearm, or our arm, or our upper body anywhere, right? We're not wailing on the drum. You're going to hurt yourself, your implement, the drum, or the people around you. With the proper technique, a soft hand, right, allowing the stick to resonate, soft forearm, soft arms, we're just using a little bit of muscle up here, some muscles in our elbow and our forearm, and a little bit of muscle in our wrist. Using the proper technique, we should strike the drum as hard as we can from every height. The height is going to make the difference between the dynamics, not the velocity that we put into the head. So now that we've gone over all of that, I'd encourage you, if you have a drum or a bass drum practice pad, you can get behind that. If you have a normal practice pad, you can just practice one arm at a time, you know. Hold it up for yourself. And really check out, make sure your wrist is doing the right thing, you know, spend some time at each dynamic. Make sure everything's looking right, make sure your arm is making the right motions. And again, making sure that there's no tension anywhere in your hand. You want a really loose upper body while we're doing this. Because your upper body is going to be strained enough carrying the drum once you have your harness on, right? We don't want to be adding any tension with how we play the drum. And of course, spend some time on your left hand as well, or whatever your offhand is, to make sure that that's all looking the exact same.